So my first reaction was like, oh, this kid is good. Like when I first grappled with him, it was just a matter of time. I said, oh, I gotta make sure that I'm doing as much as I can now, because this kid in 2 years from now, he's gonna be running, you know, on everybody. I didn't see that kind of ability when I was in the United States. It was really, back in '97, was really behind still, you know, didn't have no world championships at the time, didn't have anything. Everything was coming from you know, pretty much in Brazil.
Oh, Brazil has the best jiu-jitsu guys. Brazil has the best. That's where it was founded. It's Gracie families, all from Brazil, all the best guys, which is true. They had all the best guys there because they've been doing it for 60 years.
I honestly believed I was the best guy in the whole world, and there was nobody even close, and that was my confidence right from the beginning. I didn't even know how good the people were out in the world, but I just knew I was better than them for some reason.
Yeah, he was the first non-Brazilian to win a black belt tournament in Brazil. I don't know, he has what, 4 years of training or 4.5 years? So that was unheard of. He came right on the time, you know what I mean? It couldn't be a better time for him to get there and meet all those guys. It was a perfect match. They just clicked, and next thing you know, he's there with everybody, and you know, BJ from Hawaii. That was a fun thing for him.
When I heard that he won the Worlds, you know, it was just over the top. You realized, oh, he was not just a talented kid. This was a world-class talent.
You know, before we got involved in the UFC, our first kind of introduction to, I would say, kind of the sport and the people behind the sport was when me and Dana met John Lewis. You know, John was one of the few guys who actually had a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back in the late 90s. One day, though, he said, hey, I'm gonna bring this young kid over, and I want him to train with you. John went on to tell me that this kid was literally, I think he used the words prodigy, which ultimately became, you know, BJ's nickname. I started rolling with BJ, and all of a sudden, he mounted me, and I might as well have had Andre the Giant on top of me.
Yeah, Lorenzo and I wanted him in the UFC. Joe Silva did not want him in the UFC. BJ Penn is a very special individual. I didn't know it at the time. All I knew is that BJ Penn had come and rolled with us. He was very talented in jiu-jitsu, and we liked him, and we wanted him in the UFC.
Fighting out of Wainaku, Hilo, Hawaii. Please welcome.
We had hired Joe Silva to be the matchmaker after we bought the company. And Joe's a very opinionated guy, and Joe's like, yeah, I know who he is, but he's never had a fight in MMA. I mean, we can't bring him in the UFC. And me and Dana said, you know what? He's got something special. We want to bring him in.
Everybody says I'm good. Wow, that's cool. I'm good at something. I was good at soccer, but it was good to hear people recognizing me for something. So that was good, but it was never, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. You know, I was just kind of sucking up all the attention and, you know, enjoying it kind of thing.
Are you ready? All right, let's do this. Let's go. Come on.
Here we go in the lightweight category.
It was the biggest thing in the world to be on a preliminary fight on the UFC. Sold out, 2,500 people in the arena, and I was the second fight of the night. Nothing was bigger than that. That was, I thought life couldn't get any better. You see how that fast? You can only move fast like that when you're young like that.
You still that quick?
I better be still that quick. This was just like a street fighting mentality for me, my first time fighting in there, you know. It always was.
I'm just here to get the title, you know. I don't care who I fight. I just want the title, nothing personal. I'll put the gold on.
You just gotta, you know, win because you gotta get the job done.
Well, thank you very much, James. And
they didn't expect it out of him, even in high school. Like, as far as I hear, like, some of the guys talking about him, like, he was kind of just a smaller, more quiet, humble, I guess, guy. And then, you know, he shot up, and here he is. He's professional worldwide, you know. Just cool.
I'm a hardcore fight fan. I don't care what guys weigh. If you have a guy that's talented enough in a division of talent that can challenge him and you can put on good fights, fight fans are going to want to watch any great fighter fight.
James got to work that jab. Oh, James and he's down! And he's down! And finish! Deep! Thomas! BJ! BJ!
I Obviously, nobody knew the potential of BJ Penn. And when he came out and just started steamrolling everybody, you know, BJ Penn took off and became a huge star for us.
It was an important fight on that card. I think people were really interested in it because it was kind of that real question, like, okay, there's a lot of hype behind this kid, BJ Penn. Is he really as good as everybody's kind of talking about? We're gonna find out tonight, because if he gets through Cal Uno, it's no joke. He's a real deal.
There is a definite experience factor for Uno.
I think it was one of the fastest finishes in the history of the UFC. And then to make it even more interesting, turns around and runs out of the octagon, runs backstage. I don't know what he was thinking or what was going on. So Dana turns to me and goes, he can't do that. We got to get the interview. So Dana runs back there, says, BJ, you got to come back in. You can't do that.
BJ
He ends up coming back to the octagon and graciously gave an interview.
shaking hands here, good sportsmanship.
And that was kind of the birth of this legend of BJ Penn.
We were all watching the TV, watching BJ, just stunned. You know, trying to connect the kid who was, you know, rolling with me on the mat to the kid who was now running in the ring, beating the snot out of somebody and running out. You know, it was pretty cool.
This is always, we will always
You
be
always
his
see
home.
him running up and down.
Every morning we see him as soon as we wake up, training, always throwing his shakas up in the air. Yeah, that's what's up. Makes us feel good, represent the islands, an island boy, you know, not too many island boys get chances in the UFC. You know, and BJ Penn set the record for every local boy out here.
You might be in line to face a winner of that. What are your thoughts on fighting for the belt?
Like I said, nothing personal. It's my belt.
His belt, his victory tonight, BJ Penn, victorious in the octagon.
Everything just happening fast, but I was just kind of taking it as coming, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, you know, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna get the belt, and I'm gonna wrap this whole thing up. I just had no experience, you know, no amateur career, you know, just started wiping everybody out, and then put me against a top 10 guy, beat him, put me against the number 2 guy, beat him. It's like, why not? Why not let him fight for the title? At the end, you know, my nerves gave in, and Jens was cool, calm, and collected, and went home with the belt. Any fight that I lost, I just wasn't properly prepared, whether I let something bother me, whether I didn't prepare proper physically, whatever it was. You know, at the end, that's the way fighting is. You got to get your hand raised, and if you didn't, then you didn't prepare properly, you know, and you made a mistake somewhere.
BJ Penn was born to fight, man. That's what that kid was put on this earth to do. He's as legit and as badass and as real a fighter as you will ever meet in your life. I get goosebumps talking about it. If you think you can whoop his ass, game on. He'll fight you in 2 seconds.
Dana called me and he said, I want to do this fight. BJ's asking to fight Matt Hughes. Like, you serious? He really wants to fight Matt Hughes? You understand, Matt was just dominant, strong guy, just brawling with people.
Because Matt Hughes at that time, he was destroying everybody. He was the guy that was invincible, that anybody goes against, you're always going to say, oh, they're going to lose. There's no way they're going to beat Matt Hughes.
It was okay, let me see if Matt will do it. He calls me back, he says, you got the fight? I knew at that moment, I knew I was going to win the fight.
This is worst case scenario for Matt Hughes. BJ on top of him, punching him from his back. BJ has got incredible back control. BJ looking for the choke. He's got the choke. He's down. It's over. It's over. We have a new welterweight champion. A new welterweight champion. BJ Penn has the belt he so dearly has sought after. He has upset Matt Hughes. Unbelievable. BJ, congratulations. I know you're unbelievably emotionally freaked out right now. Can you believe what you just did?
Yeah, but when you work so hard for something and then you finally get down it.
BJ, so many people doubted you going into this fight. They thought that Matt Hughes...
I remember back then after we beat Matt Hughes, looking back in lightweight and welterweight rankings, we were #1 in both of them, in welterweight and lightweight. Did anyone ever do that before? I don't know.
Welterweight champion of the world!
He beat the top guy in the U.S., you know what I mean? And we talked to Dana, let's have BJ represent the U.S. and go to fight in Pride or K1, because in Asia, they were the biggest. Everybody was talking about 98,000 people in an arena. Let's have BJ represent the UFC and go in there and fight the best guys in K1 and Pride.